What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am here today with the. You don't have your own hashtag yet, so
I don't.
I'm about to just drop one. Ready? I am here today with April Dunham, the hashtag Flow Queen. What do we think of that?
Awesome. I love
Does
it.
that work?
Love
All
it.
right,
Yeah.
perfect. And so today she is actually going to show you how you can connect Flow to Alexa so that you can just talk to your Alexa and run flows. Another way to trigger flows. So, April, go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're doing today and take it away. And I will just interrupt you rudely several times along the way with questions.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, John. Yeah. So today I'm going to be talking about, like you said, reading planner task from Alexa. So I don't know about you, but I love my Alexa device. I use it every day, and that's how I start my day is with Alexa. So you might be wondering, okay, this is cool, but like, how am I going to do this? I'm not a developer, right? The beauty of this is you don't have to be, because we're just using Flow to do all the hard work, and we're doing some simple configuration, and that's all we need to know. So you don't have to be a developer to do this.
Love it.
Yeah. So before we move on, a little bit about me. So you already introduced me, the Flow Queen. I love that. But I'm a Microsoft MVP. I own my own company called ThriveFast here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we're a Microsoft partner, do a lot of Power Apps and Flow consulting. I also run the Oklahoma Power Apps and Flow user group. So if you are in the Tulsa area, make sure you check out our UG. And I'm a concert junkie and a karaoke queen. And this is how you can contact me on Twitter, my blog, SharePoint Siren, and YouTube. And that's my email. So
Definitely follow her on Twitter and get subscribed to her YouTube channel. Lots and
yeah,
lots and lots of value and
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. I've been putting more effort into the YouTube, so lots of stuff out there. Okay, so let's just dive right into how to get started. So there's 4 simple steps to make this work. Not hard at all. First step, create an Amazon developer account. This is completely free. So you just go to developer.amazon.com and create your free account. Okay, and once you do that, now we need to create our skill. So all a skill is an app for Alexa. Like I said, for this particular example that I'm going to be showing, you don't have to write any code unless, I know, John, you think JSON is code, but we will be copying and pasting some JSON in here.
In all fairness, copying and pasting JSON is not coding, although I do consider JSON code.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's really just a configuration aspect here. So before we dive into the demo, though, you need to understand a few core elements of an Alexa skill, because we're going to be configuring this, and you need to know what we're looking at and what the stuff means. So the first term we need to know is what invocation means. So all that means is it's a name that Alexa can recognize to open your skill. So like if you talk to Alexa, an example, Alexa, give me a quote from Daily Quotes. Daily Quotes is the invocation. That's the name of the skill that it's going to evoke. The next is intent. Intent is an action. So once you invoke your skill, this is the action that you're going to tell it to do. And then you have utterance. So you can have different ways that you could say something to perform this action. So you can map one of these to an intent. And so, for example, like you can say, Alexa, give me a quote from Daily Quotes. The give me a quote is the utterance, is what it's looking for to know what to do. Okay. Another aspect is slots. Now, this is optional, and we won't be looking at this today because this is a little bit more advanced functionality. But if you wanted to pass variables from your utterance to your action. So in this example, give me a quote about love. So you're telling it to filter the quotes based on love. So that's what a slot is. It's just pretty much like a variable, like in flow terms, right? And finally, you have your endpoint. So that's where flow is going to come in this use case that I'm showing. So that's where you perform all the action and you return the data back to Alexa. Okay.
Love it. So easy to understand.
Yep. All right. So moving on then. So we have a good basic understanding, of what the triggers and all that stuff are. Now we need to go in and build our Alexa skill. So that's the first step. Now, just looking at Planner itself. So this is the Planner list that it's going to be reading from in the flow. Just so you know, I didn't hard code any of this. These are the 3 tasks that Alexa should repeat back to me once we're done. So, all right. So we're going to go to my developer.amazon.com site that I already have created my account here. And this will be the landing page that you'll see. Now, all we have to do to get started is click Create Skill. I already have one created, but let's walk through the creation process here. Right, so when we create a skill, the first thing we need to do is give it a name. So I'll just call it Planner Task List. And you have a few options here. We're just going to keep the selected options. So we want a custom model, and we want to provision our own hosting. So you really don't have to know what any of this means. Just keep those two options selected and click Create Skill.
I've actually never seen this before. This is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, it's super easy, and most people don't know that, you can create a skill, and there's even defaults. If you don't want to do something flow related, you can create like a quick quiz skill, for example.
Very cool.
Yeah, but for the template, we're going to create from scratch. So just leave that one selected because this is a custom template here, and we're going to click Choose. All right, so now we're going to start seeing those terms I just talked about. So step one to make this skill work is your invocation name. So we need to click on this invocation name and give it a name. So it's taking the name of my skill when I created, and it's using that as the invocation name. So Planner Task List. So we can leave it like that, or we can change it to whatever we want. I'll just leave it Planner Task List, right? And then now let's save that. Now we have to do that intent that I talk about. So what do we want it to do? So if we click Add an Intent, we want it to list our task, right? So we just click Create there. Right, so we have basically our skill, we have what's going to invoke it, and we have our intent. Now we need to put some phrases in that we might say to get the task. So like, how would you word, John, that you want to get your task?
I would say read today's tasks, maybe.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So that's a good one. So you just type that in here and click the plus button and try to think of as many different ways that you might say this, right? So that it can accommodate for all those. So maybe you would say, list today's task instead
Yep.
of read. So you need
What
to accommodate.
are
Yeah,
what are my
are.
tasks?
Yep, exactly. So just list all of those that you can think about here in the utterances so that Alexa can pick them up. All right, so that's all now that we need to do, because now flow needs to kick in. So we need to jump over to flow and build out our flow. So
I
just
really can't
save
believe how
this.
easy they made that.
Yeah.
That is like
Yeah.
so
Su
simple.
Super simple. Okay, so we'll come back to this later, but let's dive into our flow real quick. And just a few things about the flow before I go into it. So the trigger is going to be when an HTTP request is received. So knowing that, you're going to have a flow plan one. There's a couple of resource files that I'm going to point you to if you want to replicate this at home. So there's a JSON schema. So I mentioned we're going to be copying and pasting JSON. So if you go to both of these links here, all of the JSON that you'll need are there. So just click on these links. I'm sure you can put them in the video notes, and people can access them and just copy and paste those as we build the flow. Okay, back to flow. So I already have this flow built out. So let's take a look. It's the Alexa to planner task. So I'm going to put this in edit mode. All right, so like I said, the trigger is when an HTTP request is received. So when you initially create this, you have to save it so that you get this post URL after you save your flow. So what you're going to want to do is you have to click the use sample payload to generate schema. And that's where this piece of code that I referenced, or JSON, will come in. So if you click that.
I love it. I love it.
And so this is what it will look like. That, again, you can just copy this. Jeff Holland from Microsoft actually has that out there. You can
Shout out Jeff Holland.
Yep. So you can just switch this to the raw mode so you don't have the lines, and just literally copy that. Go back to your flow, paste that in there, click done, and that will generate the schema, or the JSON schema that Alexa is planning, or that needs to read the data. Okay, so that's all that's needed there. Now we need to get to our planner actions. So if we go to add a new action and search for planner, one of the options that you'll see is to list my task. There we go, a little slow. List all of my tasks. So I just inserted one of those actions in here. Okay, And there's no configuration options for this, you might notice. So like, for example, what if I only want to show my tasks that are not complete, right? That are still pending, or maybe only tasks in a certain plan. If you want to filter that, you have to actually add in an action, a filter array action, because there's no native way with this trigger to do that. Because it's just going to return everything from every plan, regardless if it's completed or not.
Yep.
Yep. So what you have to do is in the filter array action, you just point it to the value from your list of tasks from the previous action. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually filtering it based on a specific plan. And if the percent complete is 99 or less, that's how you get non-completed items. And this code actually, this little formula is out on GitHub. So there's this filter array. So you don't even have to remember this, just copy that and from my GitHub, and you can use that in the flow. So
Nice, making it
yep.
easy.
Yeah, so just replace the plan ID with your plan ID. To get that plan ID, if you want to filter it by that, go into Planner and click into your plan and look at the URL here. And the last part is plan ID equals. So just copy that, and that's the plan ID that it's going to be expecting.
Nice.
Yep. And that's all. And again, if you don't want to filter by that, just leave that blank and only use the less or equals to percent complete, and that will get just from any plan non-complete items. Okay.
Cool.
Yep. So we have our array filter to get the items from Planner that we want. Now we need to insert a select action so that we can put that, just extract the title, like the name of the task, and the due date, because that's all we want Alexa to repeat back to us.
Select is so good. And I feel
Yeah.
like I might do a video in the future like just on select.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can do a lot with it. So we're just taking the body from our filter array in the select from, and then I'm mapping title to the title from our filter array. And for the due date, I'm just using an expression here to format the date time, because I wanted to tell me the name of the month, like, July, and the date, not, 0605, right? So
Yep.
I'm using this date time formula to do that. And again, that's on my GitHub, so you don't even have to remember that expression.
Awesome.
Yep. And then now that we have that data, we need to do a join, because Alexa needs to read this all as one big object, basically. So we need to take all of these values from our select. So in the from, we're going to select our output here from our select action. And we're just going to join everything together with semicolons. So take everything in there and join them with semicolons. Right? And then finally, that's all we need. Now we have all of our planner task filtered for a certain plan, not completed, joined in a nice format where we get the title and the due date. Now we just need to return all of the stuff back to Alexa. And we do that with an HTTP response action, which is what we have here. So the status code is just going to be 200. You don't have to put in any headers. And for the body, this is another piece of JSON that you can copy from my GitHub up there and just paste into here. And so you can make this text. The key thing here is this text piece. So whatever you want Alexa to repeat back to you, you'll put in here. So I'm just going to have her say, here are your task and planner, and then read out my output from my join.
Can you make Alexa say bad words?
You can.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. So yeah, put whatever you want in there. She'll say it.
I would make my Alexa have some colorful responses, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, but so that's really all that's needed from this. I mean, it's a really simple flow when you get down to it.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've made it very easy just by providing everything.
yeah, right. If you don't have to remember all those formulas and everything,
Yeah.
it's even more simple. So once you have this built out, make sure you save it. Then you'll get this URL here for your endpoint. So we're just going to want to click this copy button to take that URL. Now we need to jump back to the Alexa developer site now that we have this URL copied. Okay, so we have our invocation, we have our intent and all of that. The last thing to do is to set our endpoint. So if we look on the left-hand side here, there's an endpoint option. All right, so you can, if you are a developer, you can, code this and have, AWS Lambda, blah, blah, blah to do that. But we just want to use the HTTPS option because we're going to call that flow endpoint. So if we select that option, you have a default region text box. So we're just going to paste in our flow endpoint here. And the only other thing that you have to do is in this dropdown, make sure you select the option that's a subdomain of a domain, right? And literally, that is it. You just save your endpoints, and then you need to build your model. So if we go on click on the build tab, and there will be an option to build your model, and then this will be ready to use.
I'm getting excited.
Yeah. And like I said, I already have this. Yeah, so there's this build model option. So that'll run, and it could take a few minutes to build it.
Okay.
But I already have it built over here. So I'm going to go back to my planner skill that I've been using. Here it is. And the cool thing about this is if you don't have like an Alexa device, you can test it right from the developer console. So there's a test button here. So I'll show you here first, but then I'll show you on my Alexa device. Okay. All right, so there we go. So you can actually either click and hold the mic, or you can type in your request. So list my planner task. And you need to put the invocation. So like in this case, mine's called Ask Microsoft Flow. That's if I can spell Microsoft right, that'd be great. And then just press enter, and that will run your skill here. And it should talk back to
Here are your tasks in Planner. Title, Build Beer Buddy Power App. Due, July 5th. Title, Work on Presentation for Power Platform Conference. Due, July 23rd. Title, Work on Presentation for Collab 365 Flow Summit. Due, June 28th.
Yep. So this is pretty cool to test it because you can see the response and how it's returned back. So it is just like from our flow and that kind of JSON object there that Alexa's reading.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Now, obviously, if you wanted this for just personal use, you could just add this to your Alexa device. If you wanted to make this like a production thing, you'd have to go through their whole, step and everything. But let me stop screen sharing real quick, and I'm going to show you on my actual Alexa device. Okay.
All right.
All right. So here is my little Echo spot here. I don't know if you can see it. All right. So Alexa, ask Microsoft Flow to list my planner task.
Here are your tasks in Planner.
Oh, yeah.
Title, Build Beer Buddy Power App. Due, July 5th. Title, Work on Presentation for Power Platform Conference. Due, July 23rd. Title, Work on Presentation for Collab 365 Flow Summit. Due, June 28th.
Yep. So this is something I actually use myself. So every morning I get up, I have it read me the weather, and then my task and everything in a combined skill. So this is something to me that's really useful. And the great thing about it is you can modify it. And so if you wanted to add a task, you can just add on to your flow and add on to the skill to say, Alexa, create a task in Planner for this. But this is just the easiest way to get started, is just have a return and read back information. And that was, as you can see, it took no time, like 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
So I don't know if you know, I have been quite a opponent of having one of these. I've not bought one. I don't own a single one. But to be quite honest, like after seeing this, I'm like, I could make Alexa do all kinds of things for me.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you could do in Flow, you can make Alexa, read back to you with, like you said, with no code. I mean, it's lots of possibilities.
Awesome. Okay. Wow. I think I need to go and buy myself an Echo now.
I might have to cave in. You can always unplug it if you're worried when you're not using it. Just keep it unplugged there.
That's a good point. I can do that. The power would. You're right. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and let April go back to her day. April, thank you so very much for taking time to show us this very cool thing and for making it so easy for everyone else to do it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun.
Awesome. All right, guys, you know what to do. Go ahead and like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the goodness. Much love from me. See you in the next video.